Hi, my name is Ravi Kikan, and I'm going to take you through the effective business planning session this time. This session will compose of about 5 parts, and I will take you through these parts in a more vocal manner so that you understand it properly. The 5 parts are basically first is to understand that you're launching a business, you're not launching a product or a service, right? So you have to think about how to launch a business and look at the totality of things rather than just looking at a product launch or a service launch, right? The second part of it is how to launch a great product or a great service, and what is the kind of validation that you require before you go into the market and do a tom about it, right? The third part is about people, and people is important, and the most critical element is because people are the folks who will get things done in terms of everything that you have on the table, right? So these are the guys who will probably go out in the market, stretch, hustle, and get things done. So it's imperative you get the right kind of people. So that's number four. And then number fifth is acquiring a growth mindset. And I always keep on telling people that as compared to a fixed mindset for any founder in the world, right? A growth mindset helps you in growing, not for fundamentally in terms of your personal life only, but in your professional life as well. So you look at all the positive sides. You look at um, all the hustles that you require in terms of progressing ahead in life, as well as getting things done in the right time up. So growth mindset is not pertinent right on the top, but it's one of the critical things for success for any business idea launch, or for any founder who's trying to substantiate himself or herself in terms of getting things done. So let's start with number one thing. The most important thing is that you're launching a business, right? So effective business planning for a business is first to understand that you're launching a business. Uh, and founders should be always be interested in understanding one thing for sure, that they should be equipped in handling a business process. So they have to look at, if I'm launching a product or service, how does the marketing go? How does the sales operations go? How does, if he's in fintech, he should look, or she should look into understanding how will my credit risk happen, right? What are my strategic alliances that will happen? How will my HR work? How will I recruit people, right? So it is not just about getting things done in terms of just building a product and launching the product. It is all about how to take that to the market, how to sustain the entire team, how to hire a team, right? So all those processes in terms of totality, build into understanding that launching a business is not about launching a product. So that's one thing that should be fundamentally clear, and that's where you start things from, right? Once you've understood this fact, and once you've clearly understood this fact from a very holistic point of view, things become very easy for you. The number second point, which is very important for you to understand, is the product, right? So product needs validation for an effective business planning. The second most important thing is that you have to validate your product or a service in the market. So what does that mean? It means technically is that your product or service should ideally fall under these six buckets of requirement in the market, right? And if your product or service falls into any of these buckets or most of these buckets, the chances of success of your product or service is very high. So, for example, your product should solve, or your service should solve a genuine problem in the market, right? It should solve a gap in the market. It should either have economies of scale. It should either create a new market in totality. It should have customers who are willing to buy your product, and it instigates some kind of actual need for the customer as well. So if your product and service, as I said, falls into any of these six brackets, chances are that you will end up having a successful product launch. Now, how you launch it, where you launch it, and what are the processes you launch is up to you, and that forms the integrity of the whole entire business planning as well. But from a perspective of product validation, that's the most important thing. Here is where you start your business from. Now, one more important thing which I think most of the people forget here, and at times they generally do not focus on, is that they do not understand that the product should have, or service should have, a big market size, a total addressable market size, which is huge. Because this is where probably most of the investors or people who are putting in money in your company look at the size of the market where you're trying to work it out. So, for example, somebody an external investor or somebody who's trying to invest into you, or somebody who's trying to put money into you, will look at the size of the market that you're playing in. So if it's a $1 billion market versus opportunity size or working as compared to $1 million, the person will be inclined towards the $1 billion market, because that's the addressable market that he or she is looking at in terms of finding out or reaching out or getting. Because the bigger the market, the more size of the pie that you can get and get more money into. Um, the validation also is important, because most of the startups globally fail because they don't validate their startup idea, and that is one of the reasons I wrote my first book, and my second book was also involved in terms of understanding the whole concept. Because once you validate your business idea, once you understand what the total addressable market is, once you understand the six buckets of usage, and once you understand that there's a validation of customers who are willing to buy your product and services, I think you've crossed the first level of hurdle. The third most important thing is understanding and bringing in people on board, which technically means is people who have the right kind of mindset. Because a team A with a normal product is always better than team A cat A team or a hustler team is better than a non-hustling team with a great product as well. So comparatively, if you look at it, you should always find out people who are hustlers, who are innovative, who are thinkers, who question the status quo, and who are willing to stretch beyond the normal circumstances. So I would always suggest anybody who's trying to start up to spend some time after the product or along with the product to find out the right kind of team. Spend time in speaking to people, spend time in understanding them, spend time whether they're willing to walk the extra mile along with you or not, because that's the kind of team that will work out for you. So in the effective business planning model, this is the third most important spot, which helps you in building a good business, right? The fourth point, which is the most important point from a realistic perspective or from an execution perspective, is processes and controls, right? Because if you do not have a process or control, most of the time you'll waste in terms of doing things logically, uh, while they're good, but you'll waste most of your time in handling and building those things. So automate those processes, as I say, put those processes in standard operating processes and controls. Automate your processes to an extent. For example, if you're in sales and marketing and you're a small team, you do not have to do everything in Excel. You have a lot of CRMs available for your sales. You have CRMs available for your marketing. You've got your HR tech products. So these are the things that build across in terms of getting things done, and these are important things that save, not only save time for you, but save a lot of energy and efficiency as well for you. So processes and controls are also important at the very starting of the phase, which is the business planning stage. And once you've done the business planning, you involve processes and control and standard operating processes right at the beginning of the stage. So while you're validating your idea, you found out a great product, you found out the right kind of people, and you're searching for it. At the same time, deploy a process and controls and standard operating processes for your business. Now, last not the least, for the most important thing that anybody should take care of in the world, uh, as I said before, is having and acquiring a growth mindset. It is not that I feel it is important. It is most of the entrepreneurs that I interact with, because I run one of the largest entrepreneurial community on LinkedIn, which has about 1 million members. I interact with most of entrepreneurs across the world, founders who are starting, founders who have failed, founders who are successful, and this is one thing that has come out, right among between all of them is having a growth mindset. And what is this growth mindset? So, and why is it important for effective business planning? It's a game of a thin line. Like imagine you have a thin line where one part of it thinking is hustling, getting things done. The other part of thinking is wait, you know let me not take risk, let me just calculate things out, calibrate things out. The growth mindset is always one perspective which says, and which understands this philosophy, and I want everybody to understand it, that falling down is not failure, and failure is never final. So once you understand this basic concept of that falling down is just a opportunity lost and not a failure of life, you start to get and things in your mind in a very positive perspective. So if you fall down in a venture number one, you might not you might not just start another venture when if you're in a fixed mindset. But in a growth mindset, you say, okay, here is an opportunity I lost. There was maybe I did some mistake. Maybe I do not repeat that mistake and get things done again. So when you do an effective business planning, I think you should spend some time in building a growth mindset. And one of my books, Don't Sit and Brood, was focused at building a growth mindset for entrepreneurs and people who want to grow positive in their lives. Now, the objective for all these is to understand one important thing, that effective business planning is all about putting things in the blocks, getting things done practically, and not just go by the book saying A, B, C, D, but just to understand how practically things can move out. You might have different circumstances at different places. However, the commonality of things remains the same. Hiring people remains the same. Validation of idea remains the same. Process and controls remains the same. Acquiring growth mindset remains the same. So I will repeat, before I sign off in terms of how you can do an effective business planning. It's a five part structure, and I want everybody to understand this five structure. One is to understand that you're launching a business and you're not launching just a product. That's the most important thing. So you have to take care of all the departments, all the functions, from admin to HR to marketing to sales, right? It's just not building a product, it's building a business, right? The second most important part, which is the number two part, is that you have to validate your product and idea, which is very important. And how do you validate your product idea? You need to go to your target audience market, which is willing to buy your product or service. Now, if it is doing that, you're basically making sure that things are aligned. And the best ideas, as I told, fall in those six buckets that I shared. It solves a problem. It crosses a gap with the existing market. It has economies of scale. It's a new market altogether. Actual need of the customer and customer who are willing to buy a product. So it should fall into any of these six brackets. Once that is done, I think it is all important about how you're selling it out. The third important thing, as I said, was people. Hire the right kind of people, hire the right kind of mindset, hire the right kind of people who can hustle, hire the right kind of people who are collaborative in nature, because startups is all about, or a new business is all about, or a business vertical is all about collaborative nature in tandem. Fourth part is processes and controls. Have the right kind of CRMs, automate the processes as much as you can, put things which can be done manually through a technology interface. That's how digital transformation works across, right? So automate the processes and build those controls in place so that there's the least amount of human capital that is required to run those processes. It can run of their own and can give you analytics across to build those kind of processes, and can give you results which are more dynamic in nature rather than more static in nature. Last not the least, and my most favorite part, even if you falter 1%, 10%, 20% on the above four, right? This is where you should not fall back at all. Is having a growth mindset. And I repeat and I repeat and I repeat. Please do not falter in having a growth mindset. If it takes time, so be it. If you're negative by your mindset and you're not prone to risk, or you're too sad about things that have happened in your life, and you consider falling down as failure, I think it is time that you get a growth mindset up and running, which is basically tuning into understanding one simple fact in life, which I shared before, that falling down is not failure, and failure is never final, right? Please understand. If you understand this concept, you can do an effective, smart business planning, and you'll be definitely successful in life. You get these things done because these are logical things, and people have done time and again and been successful on it. If you do shortcuts, you might get success. Of course, your luck might be on a real high, but success by parameters, generally, if you adopt these five processes, I'm pretty sure you'll be more successful, and chances of your success will be very high. So I wish you all the best, wherever you are. I'm available online if you want to connect with me, and I'm happy to help you out. I wish you all the success in life, and I wish that you get the kind of success that you're thinking of, and all the best with your effective business planning. And if there's something that you want to dig deep into it, whether it's a growth mindset or business planning, feel free to read any of my books. I mean, you'll have a lot of practical examples which is come out of community crowdsourcing, which is the most important thing when it comes to realistic point of view. So thank you very much for listening to me and getting my point of view. And I wish you all the best. Have a great day wherever you are. Cheers. Bye.